William Pene du Bois by Margie Lopez. William Pene du Bois was an illustrator and an award-winning children's author. He was born May 9, 1916 in Nutley, New Jersey, into a family of distinguished painters, stage designers, and architects dating back to the 1700s. He seemed destined by family influence to become an artist. His father, Guy Pene du Bois, was an art critic and artist known for his landscapes and portraits. His mother, Florence Sherman, was a successful clothing designer, and his younger sister Yvonne also became a landscape painter. William began school in the United States, but received most of his education in France at the Lycée Hoche in Versailles. He excelled in sports, especially tennis and mathematics. He particularly enjoyed spending time at the French circus. Here he observed the atmosphere of amazing and astounding feats which inspired most of his stories. The family left France and returned to New Jersey when William was 14. After finishing high school, William was accepted with a scholarship to the Carnegie Technical School of Architecture in 1933, but his plans for college dissolved when he sold a book he wrote to pass time during a vacation. The Great Geppy was published before William's 19th birthday. He drew upon his love of the circus in this story. The title character is a horse that is hired to solve a robbery at a circus. To investigate the crime, Geppy poses as a variety of circus entertainers, including a freak, a tightrope walker, and a lion tamer. In the end, he discovered that there was never a theft, but a culprit broke into the safe to donate money to the struggling circus, not to steal any. For his success, Geppy is honored as a hero and is even appointed the circus's newest star. He gives an extraordinary performance when shot from a cannon. College was passed over for a career writing and illustrating children's books. By the time William entered the armed forces in 1941, at the age of 25, he had written and illustrated 5 more children's books. He spent his army years with the Coast Artillery stationed in Bermuda, where he edited the camp newspaper and illustrated strategic maps and calendars for Bermuda. He also worked as a correspondent for Yank, a weekly magazine published by the U.S. Army. In 1953, he became the first art director of the Paris Review, a literary magazine based in New York City. It is best known for author interviews in which the authors tell in their own words the craft of writing and the criticism of their own works. He continued to write and illustrate children's books at a steady, though unhurried pace. He worked on only 1 drawing per day, and he often wrote the text for his books only after the illustrations were complete. In this way, his story ideas were almost fully developed by the time he actually composed them on paper. His most acclaimed book, The 21 Balloons, was published in 1947 and awarded the Newbery Medal for Excellence in American Children's Literature in 1948. The events and ideas are based both on scientific fact and imagination, and the descriptions are accompanied by illustrations by William himself. The narrative starts in the middle of the story with the rescue of Professor William Waterman Sherman, who was picked up by a steamship while floating among a strange wreck of 20 deflated gas balloons in the North Atlantic. Sherman, a recently retired school teacher, was last seen 3 weeks ago leaving San Francisco on a giant balloon, determined to spend a year drifting alone. Sherman's flight over the Pacific Ocean was uneventful until an unfortunate accident involving a seagull forced him to crash land on the volcanic island of Krakatoa. He discovers that the island is populated by 20 families sharing the wealth of a secret diamond mine, by far the richest in the world. Each year, the families sail to the outside world with a small load of diamonds to purchase supplies for the hidden and sophisticated civilization they have built on the island. The children of the island even invented their own form of amusement that combines elements from merry-go-round, boat racing, and balloon travel. When a volcano on Krakatoa erupts, the families and Sherman escape on a flying platform kept aloft by 20 balloons. As the platform drips westward around the world, the families parachute off into India and Belgium to start their new lives. Sherman remains on the platform and finally descends onto the waters of the Atlantic Ocean, where he is rescued. The professor concludes by telling the audience he intends to build an improved balloon for a year of life in the air. William has also written a series of books concerning figures who represent the 7 deadly sins. His uncompleted series were obvious examples of excessive behaviors of sloth, pride, gluttony, and greed. His first book is about slothful Tommy Pumpkinhead, who lives in an electric house that takes care of all his needs. In the morning, Tommy's bed lifts him to the ceiling and plunks him into a tub of water. He then slides down a chute to get into his clothes and is fed breakfast from an eating machine. When the electrical outrage occurs, Tommy's life is turned upside down and he realizes that he must turn over a new leaf. His next book represents pride. Pretty Peggy Moffat is the story of a girl so obsessed with checking out her own appearance, not just in mirrors, but in store windows, puddles, and raindrops, that she suffers a series of accidents and costs herself a role in a film she was dying to be in. In the story of gluttony, Porco Von Potbutton is a very fat boy whose sole passion is food, and is miserable when he goes off to boarding school. When the hockey's team's skinny goalie goes down, Porco Von Potbutton is recruited to stand in goal. He transformed from class laughingstock to slender ice hockey hero. The fourth book, Call Me Bandicoot, is about a boy from a wealthy robber baron-style family who has abandoned his home and earned his keep by riding back and forth on a Staten Island ferry, conning passengers and telling them tall tales in exchange for things such as hot dogs, sodas, and candy. The narrator is a passenger who finds Bandicoot extremely irritating, but can't resist hearing the continuation of his stories, so keeps supplying him with food. Another interesting book that William wrote was the story of Elizabeth the Cow Ghost. Most ghost stories during this time were seen as scary or evil. William wrote the first children's book that portrayed a friendly ghost. Elizabeth was a sweet, gentle cow who came back as a ghost and tried to be scary, even wearing a sheet to inspire terror. William is not only a talented author, but an impressive illustrator as well. He has illustrated all of his own works and even won the Caldecott Honor in 1952 for The Bear Party. It is a tale of a masquerade party given by real teddy bears. Told with little text, the story relies on William's colorful and elaborate drawings, which depict bears dressed in costumes ranging from clowns to angels to bullfighters to knights. He also won the Caldecott Honor in 1957 for The Lion. It is an original fable that reveals how the artist Foreman created the lion at the beginning of the universe. With detailed illustrations, William fills the factory where angels invent the animals, with charts of ears, tails, and tongues. He also depicts the angels' drawing instruments, which include white paper and gold brushes. Throughout William's career, he also illustrated numerous works of other notable children's authors, including Verney, Isaac Singer, and Charlotte Zolotow. He especially enjoyed the challenge of illustrating books entirely different from his own. I can definitely see a connection between all of William's stories as well as his illustrations. They are all centered around the circus theme, which was his main influence when he was younger. William Pene du Bois died of a stroke on February 5, 1993 in Nice, France. He always continued to add to his already lengthy list of children's books, and his works will always continue to attract a widespread recognition for his humorous fantasies, amusing characters, and detailed drawings.